Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Saturday's chess show. And I would like to introduce our guest immediately. Unfortunately, Mikhail Marin didn't feel well today, and hopefully we will see him and his lovely wife, artist Maria, next Saturday. So in the meantime, I'd like to introduce our regular contributor, international master and professor Kenneth Regan. Welcome to the
Thank you
program.
very much. It's
Hello,
good
Ken.
to see you again after the break.
Yes, yes. So likewise, and I would like to introduce our guest who's been with us from the beginning of this program. Then he started his own very successful chess show. It's FIDE Master Jim Ida. Welcome to the show. How are you today, Jim?
I'm wonderful, and I'm sorry that I'm such a poor substitute for a grandmaster and a lovely artist, but you're going to have to do with me today.
Well, listen, hopefully you will be here more often in the future because we always enjoy your contribution. And I did a couple of weeks ago, I believe, your program on your own show on Friday. And we discussed democratic chess. And it was actually a lot of people did many compliments to me. And they told me that your idea of democratic chess is much better amplified on Jim's shows than on your own, so to speak. Well, we will try to correct that. In the meantime, the live chess is back with vengeance. It's a candidate tournament now. We have a World Cup going, men's and women's, and so kind of a normalcy returns in chess world. What do you think, Ken?
I am grateful for it. In fact, if I may share my screen, I can call up attention to where I put my thoughts out in public.
Please do.
Yes. So it's just, whoops. Yeah, this right. So sharing my screen, hopefully not showing anything bad about it. But this is a post that I made on the blog that I co-write with a professor emeritus of Georgia Tech and Princeton. And so I wrote an article. This is about a prize in my field going to 5 people, including a person who's been a colleague of both mine and Dick Lipton, Jinyi Tsai, a friend. But I wrote, that we've intended to write about this for 2 months, but travel and personal events slowed it. Plus, in my case, June was by far the most pressing month of the chess cheating pandemic. There were just a number of events that needed attention during that, and not necessarily in a bad way, but just needing attention. But I say at the same time that I am thankful that this month, to judge by the weekly roundups from ChessBase and the Week in Chess, most major tournaments are back to being played in person, where there is much less work for me in particular. So that's what I have to say in response to your question. I already said it in public.
Oh, I see, Ken. Very, very good. Jim, how are you enjoying the revival of live over-the-board chess?
Well, I never got into the online chess play. I like the over-the-board competitions. That's how I grew up. And, I like the expression, being able to see the expression on my opponent's face. If a move has startled them, or if a move I made has made them happy because I've made a mistake. This is the feedback that you can't get online. But online chess is here to stay. But I'm so glad that the over-the-board competitions are beginning to resume. But Sasha, I'm not so interested in the big tournaments the way I used to be. Right now, I want to get rewarded for being able to predict the move. If I can see a move coming and they play it, I want to be paid. Is there any way to do that?
You can bet on moves in real time in Germany, I think, but I'm not sure.
I'm thinking about the democratic chess that Sasha has come up with. It's like, if I can predict a move, then I can get some. So do you call them crowns? I can get more crowns, but if I predict moves that other people don't predict, I think this is the future of online chess. This is one of the ways.
The idea of democratic chess, actually, I've worked on that for some time now, and the reason I got involved in it, especially in the last couple of years, I can see a great um, division between what is being produced, even over the board tournaments. Like I'm following the World Cup and I see the games. If you take last year, it was nothing else but Carlson. All those internet tournaments by different names and so on. The average player up to probably 22, even 2300, I would say. It's very, never mind 1500 players and below. It's very, very difficult getting to understand what's really people are playing in all those tournaments, whether they're over the board or on internet chess. For example, if you take one of the Carlson's game, which he won with incredible easy by playing he had white pieces. So I will not demonstrate it, but I will just tell you the first five moves. E4, E5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6. So far, very easy. It's only three moves. Move number 4, A4.
Wow. Come on, that's a beginner's move.
Hold on. I experimented in this position with move A3. So in a way, I'm asking black to please show me what would you like to do with extra tempo. But A4 is I don't know. I thought that it's crazy move because you losing control of a B4 square.
Yeah.
And now even bishop b4, which is not so bad move, but now it's even stronger because there is no resource a3 to try to get
There's
something.
No putting the question to the bishop. Yeah, you can't put the question to the bishop.
Apparently, it all computerized line. And very people understand what it is, because after bishop b4, Carlson is playing bishop d3 to protect e4 pawn, and after knight d5, there is a setup c3 and b4 after d6. Black at some point plays d6. So c3 and b4 wins the bishop. You see, and it's very difficult to prevent it. By the way, so it's all computerized game, which average chess players just can't understand. And there are a lot of games which were won, even this. World Cup. If you'll take even finally today, Carlsen won the additional short time control game.
His win in the game of point ending is actually maybe worth showing because it's very simple.
Yeah.
So A4 is preparing A5, trapping the bishop.
After C3, before, and so on, right?
You had to explain it to me.
And you know what? Apparently, computer now says that bishop b4 is mistake. The only move is a5. So if I play on the fourth move a4, the right response is a5.
Interesting.
But for people who traditionally learn games from people like Capablanca and Fischer and so on, it's very difficult to deal with this nonsense A4, A5 as the two best moves.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Which game was this again? I was looking at today's game.
Oh, today's game, Carlsen defeated Wojtaszek with the white pieces. It was... I don't know how to characterize this game. It was just a chess game, and all of a sudden, Black lost very innocently looking position, almost as a drawish position. But all of a sudden, he just lost.
You mean today's game?
Yeah, it was, they drew their first two games in normal chess control, and then they went into this faster time control. I think it was 10 minutes with 10 seconds increment.
No, the first faster time control is 25 minutes with 10 seconds increment.
Yes, that's right. And then I think they drew both, and then finally Carlsen won with white pieces. At shorter time control, and the shorter time control, the better odds are that Carlsen would win.
That's
You
true. Yeah, you're right about that.
you can discuss why, but that's a fact.
Mhm.
So what I noticed is that there is a great disconnect between what's happened over the board or online between the games of top grandmasters and average chess players who learn chess in a normal, usual way, or how you want to call it, and lack of understanding what's happening in those games. Now, number two, of course, well, cheating, online cheating is still a big thing in the chess universe, and because online is there to stay. I agree with you, Jim, and Ken, you know that better than anybody else. So, one of the ideas of democratic chess is just simply eliminate any cheating uh, or make it absolutely useless. And I even don't know how you can cheat in democratic chess formula because it's not the purpose to find the best possible moves. Because obviously, people who have access to AlphaZero or Stockfish, they could find the best possible move. But it doesn't help you with democratic chess formula because if Grandmaster who is playing the game is going to play any different move, which is often, too often happen, then all your efforts are completely useless. Furthermore, you're just losing, say, 100 crowns on playing exactly the best possible moves. And I would like to remind you, which I mentioned many times, that one of the contests was won by 11 years old boy with a rating of 1500. What happened was that on second last move, he put 5 crowns on a very unlikely move that could happen. And guess what? He was the only one who guessed that. And we have, among the move predictors, we had Grandmaster Maurice Ashley, we had Gadir Guseynov from Azerbaijan, and a few other very, very strong players. And this move was actually made. And prior to that, there was a move that nobody guessed. So all the crowns from that move, they rolled over into this move, and this boy put 5 crowns. And he guessed it. And next move, I don't think that it was a good move. Everybody was very upset that this move was inferior to some other moves, which suggested by Stockfish and so on. But that move was actually done. Okay, so this situation may not happen very often, but it can happen. So anyone who is at a contest, even if you are not among the leaders, but you always have an outside chance to win the contest simply because moves that you predicted actually would happen on the chessboard. So that's another very, very interesting option that you can regulate, first of all, to predict the move. And second, you should be very good at actually calculating how many crowns to put on each move. In our model, you can put 5, 25, or 100 crowns.
Yeah.
That's interesting option because it opens, actually, I remember we discussed it a lot with the late Michael Hofer, who was a great enthusiast of this form of chess, and very often he was leading in prediction in this contest. But his problem was when he was in the lead. There were several players, and we have small cash prizes, but even they're small. But everybody wants to win, especially top prize. So when he's in the lead, and let's see, the game is already in the middle game, so there are still maybe 20 moves left to play or so on. So his preoccupation was how to protect his lead. So he would slow down. So he would start bet, say, 5 crowns, maybe 25 once in a while. But the others who were behind, they were betting 100 crowns. So even some of them would lose, but some others would overtake him. And he was so frustrated that although he was leading in many contests, he could never win one. Because when he was, then he realized that he has to go aggressively and put 100 crowns. And then he would lose a move or two. Already he is number 4.
Yeah, the problem is that he was treating it the way he would play chess, like exchanging when you're ahead or playing a little safer.
But Ken, it's very difficult to devise the right strategy at that point because Because you have basically you have two-way problem. One is which move to predict, and number two, how many crowns to put. But I think this is not the right approach. I think let's see if you are somewhere in the middle of the board. So I think your approach should be predict somewhat rare move, which probably may not happen, and put 5 crowns on it.
Yeah.
So 5 crowns is irrelevant because in each move people are getting 5 crowns back anyway, whether you lose or you won. So you never run out of crowns. Even if you, let's see, on first move you put 100 crowns, you lost. On second move you put another 100 crowns and you lost. You still have 5 crowns in the game. So you can still.
You're allowed to bet on different moves on the same turn?
Sorry?
Are you allowed to bet on different moves in the
No.
same turn? That's
Absolutely
the limitation.
not.
So by
No.
playing a rare move, you lose the opportunity to put an amount on a more likely move as well. So you lose some of the hedging chance.
Correct.
Yeah, well, we don't have that option to betting on 2 moves, just 1 move.
Yeah,
But,
that might be a future variation of this, but the way it's played now, it turns out it's based on psychology as well and your personality. Am I an aggressive bettor? Am I somebody who likes to not take so many risks? So that factors into it as well. That's what's really interesting.
Yes. That factor you should not underestimate it. Let's face it, reality. Most of the people, especially if you have a world championship and you are qualifying tournament, the first prize of a qualifying tournament is that you're getting in the final 100, where even last place there is a guaranteed prize. So how to become first? Now, second, third, fourth prizes, they have cash prizes or so on. So it's not so bad. But the first prize is everything because you're in the final. And we will have interviews with the winner and so on. So it's very valuable. So let's see, you're in the game, you're in the lead. And the second place is, say, 50 crowns behind you, and then somebody else 75 crowns behind you, and so on. So what's your strategy? Let's see, even if you feel that, there are some forced moves that you are going to some exchanges for whatever, you will definitely will get the right move, but there are so many other people who do the same. So it will not get you anywhere. But let's see when there is multiple choice. Let's say there are 2, 3, maybe even 4 equally good moves. You have to really guess. So you feel that certain move will be made based on your estimation of the personality of a grandmaster, whether he's aggressive or he's cautious or so on. So, okay, there are several ways, and you're looking at stockfish recommendations, and you're listening to commentaries or so on. So there are several factors which will determine your choice. Okay, then comes second problem. How many crowns to put on that choice? You still can lose. So maybe you should be cautious and put 25 crowns. Okay, so maybe you'll win 25. Now, if you lose, that's good that you didn't put 100, or you put only 25. But what about your competitors? If they're right, and never mind they put 100 crowns, they will overtake you right in that very moment, and you're no longer in first place. Now you're in second, third, or maybe even fourth place, and there is an uphill battle. So this is... it's not as simple as it looks, really.
It's not. No, it's very frenetic, actually, because there's a real time. The one time I played it, I did pretty well, but it was frenetic.
Yes, you did. Yeah. I remember you were among leaders. Yes.
I'm shocked. I'm not shocked. Ken, I wanted to say that the idea of betting from behind is an easier problem to solve than when I'm ahead.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yes.
I totally agree. Can you agree with that, right?
I agree with that, yeah.
So what would be your strategy if you're in the lead and you have 3, 4 people behind you, not too far behind, say 75 crowns, 100 crowns, even 150? How would you play to protect your lead?
In my case, I didn't have enough time even to notice people behind me. But but in an ideal world, how would I play? I have to ask poker players how they do it. That's a good question. I guess I would. I don't know. I think the importance of of playing what you think is the best move is going to work out. Just don't go conservative. Keep doing what you naturally do.
So just keep it the same way as you played before, because that strategy got you in the first place anyway. So why would you change your strategy if you are in the lead, right?
Right.
Sasha, I would look at it differently, and I think poker is a different game, and certainly different than the situation you're describing. And I would say that if I'm in the lead, I would get more aggressive because I would get more confident. I got in the lead for a reason. Therefore, I'm going to keep betting high. I'm not going to allow anyone to pass me if I keep winning. So this is what I meant about the psychological aspect of it. If you worry about the people behind you, you're already losing, in my mind. So I'm going to keep my first place because no one can pass me, because I've been doing well predicting moves so far. Why am I going to stop being able to predict moves in the future? So I'm going to keep betting. I'm going to keep betting large. And if I get disappointed, I'm going to bet that most of the people behind me get disappointed too. They're predicting the wrong move too. So I'm not going to lose ground to them. That would be my strategy. But I'm only talking about one person with one approach. And there's going to be a whole bunch of people with their own approaches. And that's what makes it fascinating to me.
Yeah, that's interesting aspect, because let's see if you okay, on the board you see, after every move you see the leaderboard, so you see how many crowns you have and how many, at least we have at this moment 8 top predictors. You see how many crowns they have, so you almost now you can also figure out what is the rating of those predictors, so you can estimate more or less how much stronger or weaker you are against those who are competing with you. So if you're still playing that strategy is the best move, what you understand should be made, and you predict that move. Now, your competitors, and some of them may have a higher rating than you, and probably they should be, should I say, better at predicting? But I just can't find a better combination of words, because I don't think that the even player, if someone has 200 points advantage in rating points over you, it doesn't make him a better move predictor.
Exactly, because if I'm in sync with the guy making the moves, then it doesn't matter that a much stronger chess player who's not in sync with this guy is betting against me. He's predicting his best moves, which would be different from the guy that I'm in sync with. If I feel like I'm predicting this one guy's moves very well throughout the game, why would I get conservative all of a sudden? Because I'm plugged into the way this guy thinks. I'm predicting the moves he actually makes. And so I don't think that I would look over my shoulder at the people behind me, unless I had a big lead, and then I would get conservative. But
I
not
can
when it's
like
still
you,
competitive.
from what you understand and experienced so far in this contest, which is for democratic chess. Do you think that there could be scientifically developed method of winning these contests?
I think that's a fascinating question. Ken might be better to answer it. He's certainly more qualified to answer it. I have my opinion.
My view has been to that what you should ideally do, and this is what I try to do, is use my predictive analytic model, which I get internal accuracy to within 4 percentage points of actually 4%, so 2 percentage points often of the probability of making a move. That's what my model does, is it puts out, given the player's rating and only the rating, it outputs estimates of the probabilities of certain moves being made. And you can, so the only external factor is you would need to estimate the guessing ability of other players. Like, if the players are all going to play the favorite move, then you're going to hit the best jackpot on any other move. So you bet the second best move. That's the element that's completely foreign to my model.
And there
But
is
otherwise,
the frustrating factor of 11 years old putting 5 crowns on some kind of less probable move, and
yeah,
that move would be made, and he would win thousands of crowns,
right.
while while some grandmasters would put more or less normal move expected to be played, and they would all lose.
It's the same thing with lotteries where, some 6-digit numbers are more popular than others. So you maximize your return by guessing a less popular 6-digit number. So,
Well,
Absolutely.
there is, tremendous validity into what Ken is saying about the predicting the best move, and you'll more often be right than wrong. It's when you're wrong, what's the downside, and when you're right, what's the upside? And I'm saying that if you're playing like Stockfish will predict your best move as well as your model. And so if I just bet on Stockfish moves, I'm going to end up a loser. I would say your experience, Sasha, has anybody bet on what Stockfish predicts is the best move? And even if your model is better than Stockfish, just take that as an example. I think you would get small rewards by taking that approach.
yes. Well, in fact, so if you don't mind my cutting in.
No, not at all.
So this, in fact, has been the element that took me 3 years, 2016 to mid 2019, to tame in my model, which is how often my model puts the highest probability on a human player making an inferior move, an objectively inferior move. Now, the kind of move I want to find is a move that initially looks attractive, but there's a real trap attached to it. And the question is, will you fall into that trap? Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the best moves to catch opponents.
Brilliant.
Yeah, where you've seen deeper. But so I automate that process. And the answer is that about 1/7 or 1/8 of the time in positions, my model actually does put a higher percentage on an inferior move. And I judge that I have improved the model's prediction rate by about 2 percentage points.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be significant because if the standard deviation is 4 percentage points of matching a computer, then I've made my model half a sigma sharper that way, which can be significant in a real cheating test. But of course, I'm solving the problem of prediction this way. So that's where you would use my model to find those positions in which actually the player is more likely not to make the move that Stockfish favors, because it requires a deeper understanding that a human can reasonably often have at the game. And of course, that is the very predicate by which I'm trying to catch people cheating with Stockfish to begin with.
Wow.
I get it.
Whatever engine, yeah.
Brilliant.
That's great. That's really interesting. But the follow-up would be, do you do it for 3-minute games with increments?
3-minute games, actually, I believe makes my prediction better.
That's so surprising to me. Interesting.
Because people are doing more natural moves with their hand rather than take a long thing of what's going on. Actually, I want to tell you something which is very connected to the subject that we're discussing now, is that the difference between today's game and one that played 20 or 30 years ago, for example, which is still, by all counts, should be a very modern game of chess, because forget about Capablanca or even Fischer's time. Fischer's game is very high quality, move by move games, especially from 1970 to 72. Now, let's take arguably the best player of all time, Garry Kasparov. Of course, he's been out of chess for quite a long time or so on. And yet, even a couple of years ago, he played decent chess at Fischer Random Model. And he played quite well against people like Caruana and others and so on. However, just a few weeks ago, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, I don't remember. He was playing in one tournament where he scored half point
Half
out of
point out of 9, yes.
he was outplayed left and right, and I think one game with Mamidiarov, I think he resigned on seventh move, for example,
Yes.
because the openings over-analyzed with computers like Stockfish or so on make a so-called human game, which Kasparov was trying to play, completely obsolete. There's no such thing.
That's a very major thing that I have to pay attention to, is the importance of opening repertoire in these blitz and rapid tournaments, because playing good openings has a much higher relative value to the worth of the move compared to slow chess.
Exactly. So I would like to show you one game of Garry Kasparov, because most people associate Garry Kasparov with brilliant combinations and attacks or so on. I want to show you one game of Garry Kasparov. I would like to share my screen if I can.
Yeah.
Just hold on.
This is from that blitz tournament, from the
No,
earlier one.
Okay, share screen. Okay, I think I'm there.
No.
Can you see the screen?
Not seeing
now,
anything yet.
chessboard?
Oh, now I am.
Now.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, excellent. This game was, he played black against Jan Elvest, at that time very strong grandmaster. It was played exactly 30 years ago, 1991, in Linares, which at that time was almost like tournament world championship.
Yes.
And they played all of the greatest players at the time. Now, he has black pieces, and I want to show you the game. Very interesting. And you will see, actually, what deep ideas, positional ideas. Now, Elvis plays somewhat unusual move, c4. I mean, I'm not ready to criticize that move, but Kasparov himself, from time to time, he played this move. So the Kasparov was not surprised.
Some Roxy bind-ish type of thing.
Yeah, except that it started as a Paulson, but now, in this position, looks like black has very flexible setup. Although Kasparov criticized his move bishop e7, he thought that bishop e4 would be more active and stronger. But anyway, it's not mistake by all means.
No.
Now, white may have overextended a little bit, but so far it's a usual setup, right?
I don't like f4, but okay.
Yeah, knight c6, I usually play to d7.
Now, look at this move, knight d7. So supposedly black has to finish his development, the castle or so on, but Kasparov plays a very deep idea here. Look at what he's doing.
Yes.
Now, see, he delays castle, but he developed bishop, and what he's doing is this. After bishop e3, he's taking.
Yes.
And e5, and all of a sudden now it's a new kind of game where a white bishop on e3 is not that useful, and there is a blockade on black squares. But let's continue.
Spassky Fischer game.
Just point out that the knight really wants to be on d5, but it can't get there.
No, not in this game. It's in the next game. Yeah. Not in this game. Now look at this move, knight to b8. So
these are the moves that always perplex me. Yeah.
His developed piece goes back to b8.
I know, to its original square. How can this be good?
Now, the idea is he wants to relocate knight to c5 and knight to d7, and it's really one of the brilliant ideas of his.
It's an exceptional idea.
Yeah, so white finished development, knight c5. Now he frees d7 for another knight.
And black didn't promise that he would castle kingside, so this pawn on f5 might not be important.
That's another upsetting factor, because all white can do in this position, he's almost
crippled there. Yeah.
He's crippled on the queen side, so maybe he should start attack on the king side, but he hasn't castled yet.
He hasn't castled yet.
What a bad boy.
Ah,
Now
So
B6, I imagine soon. Yeah.
yes,
Oh, it
exactly.
went
So
there.
now
ooh.
all he's left to do is b6, bishop b7, and it's unclear how to protect the e4 pawn. And if it
Yes,
falls
he's going to
at the
start
end of the
piling
game,
up on it.
And Black's king is going to E7 to guard the D pawn. So.
right?
It looks like it's very viable to do that.
Mhm.
Okay, so he's
Yeah,
bringing
B6
bishop
would have
to
created a
e6
weakness. So this actually makes
very
more
quickly.
sense. Yeah.
No, he
Yes.
doesn't mind him to take on f6 because he
Yeah,
didn't castle
he's
yet.
not going to castle. Yeah.
So here,
So E4 is under significant pressure.
yes, queen
What's Queen
f3.
F3 doing? Oh, yeah.
Oh, now he
Oh,
castled.
look at he castled, but not in the king side.
Mhm.
What a deception!
And his D pawn has got another protector, so the rook has that move to D1 has to go back to E1.
Yeah.
Right, he has to protect e4 pawn, and there is nothing to attack.
Go ahead, take it, please. Nope,
He wants to keep his two bishops, but
of
they're not
course.
very useful in this type of position, unfortunately.
That's right. I'd rather have the knights.
Now look at this move, rook g8. It's
Yes.
now there is no way that white will take on f6 because rook becoming very active on
You
g
activate the rook.
file, and
Right?
the other rook will come there soon. So what to do in this position? I mean, white plays all normal moves. There are no mistakes of like obvious mistakes what we can speak, but his position is
Got to
hopeless.
play knight F1 and get it to E3, D5. All right.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
He runs away with this king.
Well, that's the last square where he can run. He cannot run any farther than that.
Mhm.
Okay,
And
no
now the
more
next
taking on
move.
f6. It's not even
I was
possible
thinking of
anymore.
knight h7 actually, but that's still the same idea.
Mhm.
You want to get the kingside pawns rolling. Yeah, the knight's coming in too little, too late.
Yeah. So g5 was played, bishop f2. Okay, now
Pawns
black
rolling.
starts attack. The pawns are rolling.
So white with the pawn on f5 is saying, I'm going to attack on the king side. But look who's attacking on the king side. It's black.
And queen side is horribly distracted already.
It
This
can't do
horrible
anything
pawn.
on the queen side. There's a couple of half-open files, but that's it.
Okay.
Protecting e4 indirectly, not really activating the queen so much. So finally, black allows him to take on
Yeah,
c5.
he allows him to take, but in this position, you see the
93,
white
yeah.
pieces are absolutely hopeless, and there is no play of any kind anywhere.
Knight E3.
And which
is the-
bishop would you rather have? The white bishop on c2 or the black bishop on c6?
Well, good question.
Yeah, I'd rather have the one on c6.
Okay, so
And
finally,
here he comes.
knight is about to enter d5.
Yes, that looks bad for
Yeah, but don't forget pawn c3 is
d4.
now.
How do you protect that and defend d4?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Oh, he doesn't even
this.
care about the pawn.
No.
Oh, dear. E3. Okay, yeah. Uh-oh.
You
This is
see, now
awful.
look at this bishop c6 against king h1.
Whoa, yes. This is
Against
getting,
Kasparov, it was quite dangerous
I think
proposition.
so.
Yeah, I would have given away the C3 pawn. This makes no sense.
Me too.
He must have been in time pressure. Oh, this is just awful.
Ouch.
Okay, back to d file.
He doesn't go to d5. He can't. He's
Okay,
Oh.
so pawn on f7 is hanging now, and look at what Kasparov is. He's completely rebuilding his pieces by playing queen c7, protecting f7 for now.
yeah.
And after this, very cool move, bishop e6, protecting
Form-
f7, attacking c4. If knight,
What are you going to do about that?
not much.
And black is already a pawn up. He's going to get
Yeah.
another one. Yeah. Ah, doubles.
Complete domination.
It's complete domination. I was just going to say that, Sasha.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And after this, white resigned. So
Yeah.
He lost 2 pounds. His position is hopeless, and it's a good time to resign, I guess.
Oh,
Now,
that's a
if you
great
look
game.
this way, there was very little attack in our combinations from Gary Kasparov, but incredible positional understanding of the game, which
Yes.
was demonstrated against one of the. At that time, he was one of the top, probably top 10
Oh,
grandmasters in the world.
Elvis was always a strong grandmaster. Yes,
Mhm.
always. When he was an active competitive player, he was among the best.
He is the
Yeah.
strongest person I've ever played, I think by current rating. Maybe Rafael Vagan-Yan in 1977. But I
Mhm.
played Jan Elvest in 2006, and guess where?
Where?
On my university campus.
Ah,
Amazingly, our local organizer had managed to get him to play in a small tournament on UB's campus, and we met in the last round. And I thought for a long time on move 9, made the wrong choice and resigned at move 17.
really?
So,
I played him once at the Mechanics Institute in San Francisco, and of
Mhm.
course I lost.
Mhm.
Yeah, well,
But
he was a very strong grandmaster at the time.
he was
So,
visiting Yermolinsky at the time, and I got a chance to play
mhm.
him. But it wasn't a fair fight.
Mhm.
Yes, Alex is playing now in seniors
Oh,
U.S. Championship.
in New Jersey. Oh, okay.
In St. Louis.
Right.
Oh, St. Louis. Sorry.
I think
Yeah.
Kaidanov is in the first place.
I'm monitoring that tournament as well. Not only that.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, thank God they have now a lot of over the board
Uh,
tournaments.
Ken is always multitasking.
You're right. And that has to be. I mean, this is if you're hearing a little tip, 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 tip,
Yeah, that's
it's
all right.
me.
You're detecting a cheater. You're monitoring the senior.
I
You're
just
on the show
now
with us.
I just now uploaded my runs on today's game and the World Cups where they can be viewed. So
Mhm. Excellent.
a couple of computer commands. So um,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
I'm taking notes. That's all I can do.
good idea. Ken, you mentioned a few times different models about predicting the moves, where you would use a computerized approach and something from poker arsenal. You think that it could be useful here.
in
Now,
fact,
there is another concept what I was thinking about chess, what it relates to. You know that I often find the relationship between chess and arts, and one of the reasons I invite
yeah,
Maria
right,
on our
right,
shows,
right.
that she would show her new paintings, and she's using a lot of chess themes for her arts. Now, another thing is, I don't know if you're aware, but I'm doing a financial show on this IBM TV channel on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. And Jim was a guest on a few of these programs. I'm trying to find a relationship between chess and investing. And I found, because I'm doing both, I found there are a lot of rules which are exactly the same in chess and investing. And number one, but immediately I would like to mention is a sense of responsibility for your action, which
Yeah,
is 100% equal chess and investing. Because when you play a team sport, a hockey or so on, you can blame a coach, you can blame your friends on the team. They didn't give you a pass, they didn't do this way or so on. In chess, there is only one person you can blame. It's yourself. There is no one else.
yeah,
Same as in investing. Is if you're making a mistake and all of a sudden you're losing money on transactions that you initiated, all of a sudden you can blame just yourself. The only thing is the difference though is in chess if you made incorrect move and as a result you lose the game, so you lose one game, you got zero, your opponent got one, the end of story, you go prepare for next game. Now in investment is different. When you made a wrong choice and let's see you're losing money, but unless you terminate this transaction it can go on even further and you may lose even more money and much more money, or a situation can reverse actually. You
Yeah.
end up even making money on this transaction, which you were absolutely wrong in the first place, but you can still end up making money. However, I don't recommend to cling on to a losing situation. But in chess, it could be terminated by opponent by checkmating you.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in stocks, nobody terminates your losing
There's
transaction.
no refuting
Right. There's
checkmate.
no way limit to tilt. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you can go lower and lower and lower. Yeah. So there's so definitely number one is responsibility for your action. That's very similar in chess. And now another thing is money management, which is extremely important thing. Although in chess maybe it's not so. It could be useful in a contest in the democratic chess model because if you, for example, you started with a certain number of crowns. We have 200 crowns given to every participant, right? So let's see if you put a couple of wrong choices, and maybe you can slow down and try to get in the groove into the game instead of keep losing all your crowns if you're not doing that well. On the other hand, you want to get back, so you're intensified even to put even more crowns. So this is an issue that in a way money management technique is applicable. I found that actually money management technique is very applicable to investing and stock trading, and some games even like blackjack, for example, because in blackjack I found that we all normally, if we play blackjack, we use obviously basic strategy, and if you're playing the perfect game, the casino has still 48.5%, sorry, 51.5 to 48.5 advantage. That's not so bad, but there is another interesting proposition. I've tried it once in Atlantic City, and people were furious at me because what I was doing, if I would have 12 and over, I wouldn't take card. I would just stay. Because mathematically, a preposition of you winning the game is coming down to only 40.5% against 59.5 advantage of the house. However, if you are playing a strategy where you put, say, small amounts, say $25, and you lose, and you put then again $25 and then 50, it's kind of a martingale strategy with some adjustments. You can very easily to get back into the game, and once you'll have a couple of good hands on a high level of what you're doing at the time, then you can be really ahead. But you have to be very smart and not playing mechanically on the strategy. You have to still understand the game. You have to see what other people are doing. You have to see as many cards as on the table and what it that could help you as well. Now, in investments, that's exactly the same thing. If you have a set amount of money, let's say you have, say, $100,000, and you're playing, and let's see, if you're losing in all your positions 7%, you just stop the game, you cash out, and you just wait 2 3 days, and you start anew. So you never ever lose more than 7%. On the other hand, if you are winning, then you increase your investment positions or so on, and then you are going actually. So it's essentially you are limiting your risk to say 7%. And on the other hand, you're not limiting your losses. And what I'm doing, for
Your
example,
upside.
with
Yeah.
blackjack, I always mindful of how much cash I have available. So if I lose, but in blackjack I'm doing 10%, it's just easier to calculate. If I lose 10% of my roll, I'm out of the game. I'm going to listen to music. I'm going to go just for a walk,
That's very disciplined, and
change.
that's a very good
Mhm.
characteristic to have in any
Absolutely.
sport, in
Absolutely.
anything.
So just take it
But
easy.
to
And then
get
you
back
play.
to what you were saying about chess and democratic chess, what you're talking about is it was just you only have yourself to blame in chess. That's what I
Absolutely.
liked about it. That's what I liked about it because I just it was my responsibility. And in team sports, there could be all sorts of different reasons, and I like the fact that it was just my moves that counted. But in democratic chess, you have the other people to blame. You have the guy that didn't make the move that you had predicted. You could blame him. And that everybody that bet it on the same move that you bet, you can blame them. And there's you thought you were making a special move and betting just $5 on a move that nobody would predict, and then all sorts of people predict it, and you only get a couple of crowns back. And it's like, oh my goodness, you can blame all sorts of people. So you put the fun back in it. And I think that's one of the things that I want people to know about the democratic chess is that it can be a blast. It could be fun, and it's not all about your calculation ability, and it's not all about you get versus one person over the board. It's you against all sorts of things, different psychologists, people playing for different reasons, people that are aggressive, people that are passive, people that are offensive, defensive, and also you're predicting somebody's moves who may or may not be the most accurate player in the world. Maybe he's having a bad day and he's just not playing the best moves that everybody thinks he should. Stockfish thinks he should. He's just having a bad day. He's not thinking clearly. And then you can all of a sudden make us all sorts of money, even though you're only a halfway decent chess player. You're not, that good. You can make a lot of money and you can have a lot of fun doing it. And the other thing I like about this democratic chess is you usually have someone explaining what's going on. And that's what I like. You have a grandmaster often that I'm substituting for, sorry about that, but who's explaining what's going on. And so you can learn while you're having fun playing.
And one important feature about our model is that once the game is over, both grandmasters analyze just finished game online. And this is something that not very often happening in top tournaments or so. Okay, you have, of course, commentators like Yasser Serovin and some others,
sure.
But to have both grandmasters who just finished the game and they analyze in a friendly atmosphere and you see their faces, and that's very important feature. If what you would like to do, it's like, okay, there are entertainment qualities of this, but also educational qualities, because this is what could be a better education than to see both grandmasters. I remember one game we had very, very good analysis. We played, I think it was Donchенko playing against Shirov. And they finished the game and they analyzed, and Shirov especially, he showed such variations that you couldn't even touch it. You couldn't even. And actually, I like Shirov when he's playing these games. He's in one of the games he played very unusual move, knight h7, in very complicated position. With white, he played knight h7, and it looks like the knight could be trapped there. But it was not. He had some line of moves that would untrap it, and he had decided advantage after that.
I didn't like trying to predict Shirov's moves. In all fairness, he crushed me in blitz as well. But the idea of predicting his moves was just too much for me, because I was sure I bet 100 crowns on a move that he was definitely going to play, and he played something I hadn't even thought about.
Yeah. But let me ask, Ken, what do you think? What are the chances that anybody would guess in this game that I just showed, Kasparov's move, knight to b8? How many people would guess that?
Not me.
That's a good question. I should run it and see what my model says about it. In fact, the 1991, I don't have it in my training set.
Mm-hmm.
So I have probably, wait, but it's Linares 1991.
Yes.
So I did run Linares 1981. So gosh, let me go find it.
Yeah, that's interesting, because if people would predict the moves, many people would bet that he would castle probably, because he has to finish his development or so on. But he already failed to castle by playing knight d7, bishop f6, bishop takes c3. So he completely changed the nature of the game.
I would not have predicted knight b8. No, I could say that clearly, because I just. It didn't occur to me until you played it, and then
it's against the logic of chess. You spend the tempo to develop your knight to c6. From c6, it attacks d4, e5 squares, or so on. So it's fairly good, well placed piece. And all of a sudden, you play d7. Mm-hmm. That's one of the most unusual moves that I've ever seen.
Well, tip of the hat to Ken here, who could actually do this analysis for us in real time.
Yeah, I only have the screen Yeah, I mean, I have the PGN file. I don't seem to have the analysis files of it. So
Oh, okay.
I did it in screening. Actually, no, I have it with Ripka 3 on my other server. That's where it is. Okay, so I'll be able to. Oh yeah, I'll be able to find it actually.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But let me show you one other thing though. Let me show you
Okay.
one other player in this game. So this is, my most august competition, you could say. So this is a neural net engine called Maya, which is exactly supposed to predict human play at chess.
Oh,
So
Maya.
and it's simplest in approach to what Lichess are already doing. So this was a post on the Lichess blog. It's the brainchild of this person, Reed McElroy, who's a student at U Toronto. So close yet so far away at the moment in terms of visiting.
Yes, you can't get there
But
from
one
here.
of the co-authors is John Kleinberg, a famous professor at Cornell, one of Google's top advisors, who also gave me a 90-minute audience to help me solve the problem that I mentioned to you earlier. It took me 3 years. So we met in 2018. Anyway, the whole point of this is to get higher prediction accuracy compared to just using Stockfish. So for fast games played on Lichess, that's what this is from. Stockfish gets it right under 40%. Leela, if you just use the best move played by the neural engine Leela, you get 44%. But their Maya approach, tailored to the rating, they claim they can get over 50%. So so prediction is the name of this game, and this is their own website about Maya chess. And here's a very good chess example where it also diverges from my work, because they say that according to their model, and I haven't checked yet how many actual games have reached this position in the vast data that Lichess has, tens of millions of games per month. But their model says that up to 1400, a player will impulsively hit black's queen and miss the fact that this pawn is hanging, and you also could have opened black's queen side. And
Are you sharing the screen, Ken? Because I can't see what you're.
I am sharing the screen, but maybe I shared the wrong thing. You should be seeing a diagram.
There we go.
Let me redo it. Do you see it?
Okay.
I see it now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So they say at 1500 or higher, that's when white will take this pawn instead, and will open up black's queen side, and then white is winning already. I mean, we can tell that this is crushing for white. But anyway, and it's also will differ from my model, because I haven't run this yet, but I think that Stockfish never likes b6. So what I'm using to predict inferior moves isn't going to work here, and I'm always going to predict, no matter the level of the player.
I think even c6 could be considered.
Yeah, even c6 is
sure.
Yeah,
I would play either of those before b6.
Yeah. But this is how some very serious people are approaching it, using neural analyzers instead of my frequentist approach. So that's another thing that might be brought to bear upon democratic chess and these questions of how to predict moves.
Brilliant. I wouldn't mind, unfortunately we are running out of time, I wouldn't mind to continue our conversation next Saturday if you're available. It would be great, because I will also prepare a couple more examples on what we discussed. And Ken, you would be able to address that game of Garry Kasparov from Linares 91.
Yes, I'll probably find it by then, yes. So
Sure.
I have it on my other machine. It would take me a few minutes, I think.
Excellent. So we will do that next Saturday. In the meantime, I would like to thank you so much, both of you, for contribution to today's program. Looking forward to see you next Saturday. Goodbye. All the best to you. See you next Saturday.
Thank you, Sasha.